Airtable is like a stronger and more powerful spreadsheet. There are thousands of possibilities with it, and today I'll show you how you can use it in your bots. Since there are so many things to learn from this integration, we'll divide this video in 4 sections. First, we'll see how to connect your Airtable account to Landbot. Then, the bloc's different sections. After that, each action there is available to do in the block. And finally, when the flow will follow the red path. So, to connect your Airtable account to Landbot, first off, you have to create an Airtable block. When created, you will be received with the button Add New Account. When clicking it, 2 new fields will appear. The first one is the custom name you want to save your new account with, and secondly, your API key that will be used for linking the account. So let's head over to airtable.com to get that. Create or log in into an already existing account. After doing that, click on your avatar in the top right corner and go to Accounts. Here in the section API, copy your key to later paste it in Landbot. But for now, let's stay in Airtable. Go back to the main page. Here are your different workspaces. We will create a new one. Let's call this table Landbot's Test. And we will add the fields name, email, phone, and age. Great, back to our bot. Paste the API key we've just copied in the designated field. Great, now for the blog sections. The first part of your blog is the selection of the base and table. Let's select the ones we've just created. When completing them, the field action appears. Here is where we will choose what Landbot will try to complete using Airtable. With that said, let's enter each action available with Airtable. The first one we get is add a record. When this action is selected, you have to map Landbot values to Airtable fields, meaning that you have to associate information from Landbot to categories in Airtable. When we click on the field drop-down menu, we can see each field we have created in Airtable, each of them with a field type, which is basically their format. Let's select the name field. And for the value option, you can associate fields to fixed values that won't change depending on the user. Or you can choose one of your bot's variables. In this case, let's select Add Name variable. This way, the table will be modified with the different names inserted. Now, get a record. This action will be useful when you want to get a single record from your Airtable. When selecting this option, a few fields will open up. Let's understand them one by one. View. If set, this option will return only the records in the view. The records will be sorted according to the order of the view, unless the sort parameters is included. Fields that are hidden in the view will be returned in the results. Sort. The field you will sort by. You can select whether sorting ascendingly or the contrary, descendingly. Filter. There are 2 ways to specify the record you want through filtering. Basic, specifying how you want to find a record using the UI, or Advanced, where you can filter using formulas in the text field. And the last section of this action is Save Record Values as Variables, which does exactly what the title means. You will be associating variables to fields in Airtable. I know this is a lot of information, but stay with me. Let's see the next action. Get multiple records. As for the action that we previously talked about, this is the action you will need to use if you want to get records from Airtable. But this one will be useful when you want to get 2 or more of these. Landbot lets you save those records as arrays to later use in buttons, autocomplete, or picture choices using the dynamic data block. But we'll explain that in another video. The 2 first fields of the action are the same and perform similarly as the get a record. Difference is that the field max record is new and it allows you to return up to 100 fields, but you can choose how many of them you want to be returned. Then selected fields is where you will choose what information you want to be returned to Landbot. The rest of the categories are the same as explained earlier. Awesome, so let's see the last action of the block. Update a record. This will allow you to update your fields with new information when the users trigger the block. The first sections are familiar to us as we have seen them just before, but the update record values is new. So let's check what it does. The field section is where you will choose the field in Airtable that will be updated. And the value field is what Landbot will send to Airtable to update it. This is where variables will be very useful. With them, your bot will update each field with the information saved in it. Let's now see why there is a red path in the Airtable block. If everything goes accordingly, there won't be any need of this path because the flow will be redirected to the green path. But in the case that the field or action is not performed, the flow won't use that path. It will instead use the red path, which will need to be connected to a block for the flow to continue. Awesome, so now that we've seen the whole Airtable integration, let's recap. First, we saw how to connect your Airtable account to Landbot. Then, the block's different sections. After this, each action there is available to do in the block. And finally, why there is a red path. Even with that much information, I hope it was explained clearly. I'm Nick, and I'll see you in the next one.